Telltale games have always been known for their narrative excellence. I remember how I felt something I never felt before with The Walking Dead Season 1 when that released, or how invested I was with The Wolf Among Us. These games have molded my gaming life to be someone who adores narrative experiences where choices matter and emotions run deep. Former developers from Telltale Games and some of the creators of these fantastic titles have got together to form Adhoc Studio. Their first game, Dispatch, has just released and consists of 8 episodes, but does this capture the same adoration I felt when playing Telltale games of old? What's up? How's it going, people? Welcome to Casual Gamer Reviews. If you want to support the channel, then please leave a like and subscribe, or if you don't like it, then leave a thumbs down and let me know how I can be better for you. Dispatch took me approximately 12 hours to complete the 8 episodes. Each episode averages about an hour, some could take a little bit more and some could take a little bit less. Episode 8 is notably longer and took me almost 2 hours. This is a game I would strongly advise to play more than once though, given the dialogue options. Reviewed on PlayStation 5. In Dispatch, you play as Robert Robertson, a pretty ordinary man who used to be a superhero called Mecha Man. Robert effectively acts as the Iron Man in this universe, where he is a man who lacks any superpowers outside of the suit, but can be one within it. In a tense encounter at the very beginning of the game, the Mecha Man suit gets destroyed and Robert must find his place in this world without it. A world where many superheroes and supervillains exist. A world he used to be a part of and now must navigate it as a civilian. This creates an interesting existential premise where you must find out what your identity is and if Robert can be anything without the suit. Given that Mecha Man is famous in this world, it represents a crisis between a fall from grace and a desire to continue to help people while feeling helpless. A great foundation for a narrative experience. Robert gets scouted by Blonde Blazer, a prim and proper poster woman of the superhero catalogue. She describes herself as a corporate hero for hire and is the lead of the company SDN, the Superhero Dispatch Network. She extends a hand to Robert and says that if he comes to work for them as one of their dispatchers, to impart his wisdom on some of their more lost heroes to give them guidance, then the company will help him rebuild his suit. Your team at SDN are the Z Team, and the makeup is of ex-supervillains who the Blonde Blazer is trying to rehabilitate into hero society. This is where the story of Dispatch really takes place and will shape your experience over the course of the 8 episodes. Robert's interactions and relationships with the Z Team, as well as his fellow SDN workers, combined with all the decisions that you make to personalize your adventure with them, is what makes Dispatch a truly one-of-a-kind experience. Robert's integration into the role of dispatching this team, who are considered beyond hope, really opens the door of emotional growth and introspection. I cannot begin to explain how incredible the story writing is here. There are no peaks and troughs with the quality. I was constantly enamored with the story and desperate to learn what happens next. There are several tough decisions where I always wanted to replay to see how the other choice played out. There are many cliffhangers which give the episodic release its justification, plus the cadence of 2 episodes a week was perfect. When it comes to other episodic releases in games like Life is Strange or Telltale's own The Walking Dead, taking months between episodes can really make the title suffer, but that is not the case here with Dispatch. In fact, each week when I played the episodes, I instantly replayed them with the other choice options, as I just wanted to absorb everything this world and its characters had to offer. I am extremely high on Dispatch, and its story does a lot of the heavy lifting with why this is the case. The end of episode 6 and all of the twists and turns through episodes 7 and 8 are some of the most intense emotional experiences I have ever had within gaming. Then there is the comedic side. Dispatch has some hilarious writing. Every single character is quippy, and the casual placement of outrageous one-liners are not in short supply. There were several times where I was cry laughing at the interactions between people. The writing toes the line between banter and insults and executes it perfectly. Part of what makes Dispatch's story so compelling is the fantastic voice acting. Adhoc Studio made this game in collaboration with Critical Role, so you see some of the voices transcend that boundary. We see the likes of Bailey and Matthew Mercer as a result of this partnership, and they are both great, with Laura taking a leading role. Outside of this, in the driving seat is Breaking Bad's Aaron Paul as Robert and Jeffrey Wright as Chase, and then the Z Team outside of Laura Bailey is made up of many familiar names like Alana Pierce, Jacksepticeye and Moist Critical. Having Having this star-studded voice cast is essential for this kind of narrative adventure, as you need to feel invested with the characters and immersed into thinking this is your story as well as theirs. It gives the choices all that more weight. From a soundtrack perspective, Dispatch has a nice array of licensed songs as well as original music. The level of quality is high, not just because they are good tracks, but there are even some amazing parody tracks which had me wheezing looking at you, Chapter 5. Life is Strange is a game I hold dearly in my heart, and there are some instances across that series where a perfectly placed track plays over an intense emotional scene, and it forever makes you think back to that moment whenever you hear that song again in the future. A handful of you may know what I mean with this reference, and if you do, then I'm pleased to say that Dispatch also had a couple of moments like that for me. Adhoc Studio have been really good at uploading their soundtrack each week from the episodes on their YouTube, so you can check it out right now, and they also promise to release it in full on your platform of choice once all episodes are out. The art style of Dispatch is best described as your mature rated cartoon anime of the last 5 years. Think Invincible for the most direct comparison. This animation is fluid and vibrant, and it looks so good on screen. The character designs are pretty impressive given that a lot of them fall into superhero tropes we have seen countless times in the past. I really like the look of Malevola, Flambe, and Sonar. I think the fluidity and crispness of the animation is crucial in Dispatch, as you want it to be that perfect blend of interactive experience and TV workplace comedy. You want the transitions between scenes, gameplay, and dialogue options to be seamless and not jarring and janky like some games can be, especially when entering into or out of cutscenes. There are some great picturesque shots when outside of SDN in the wider city, especially in episode 1, where you truly feel like the developers are showing off their artistic abilities, and I loved that. A lot of the time this is at night, but there is never any darkness, as you have the constant stream of colourful lights from scenic billboards to the strobe lights of rooftop pool parties. There won't be a single moment when you are uninterested in the visual representation of this game. If you have gotten this far into the review, you're probably thinking, but do I actually play this game or just watch it? Well, the answer is yes, you do play this game, as Dispatch has its own quick-time strategy game within its shell. I know some people call this a mini game, but really I see it as the core focus of gameplay, so I wouldn't really call it that. How the dispatching works is you are placed onto a screen which doubles as a sort of interactive map. Alerts will start popping up on the map, and when you select them, you'll be faced with a certain problem that needs a superhero's help. Each hero on the Z team will have certain qualities that they are better at. For example, Malevola may have higher combat, but Invisigal has higher speech, Golem has higher defense, and Sona has higher intellect. These problems dialed in from the citizens of the city will give you a brief paragraph where you must decipher who is best for the job. The wording may say you need to have a quick escape, so I would send someone with high agility. Another one may say that I would need to withstand attacks, so I would send someone with high defense, and so on. These are not just single hero alerts though, and as the chapters go on, these become much more complex. Some can have up to 3 or even 4 heroes assigned to them. These would then require multiple traits like being able to have high combat but also high intellect. Once an alert has been completed, you get a stat screen where it shows the graph of success required for the task against the graph of the heroes you sent depending on their trait level. If the surface area of your graph fully envelops the one set by the task, then you instantly succeed. However, if the graph is not fully covered, the game launches a mini icon which darts around the screen before settling in its final position. If this final position is within your graph's area, then you succeed, otherwise you lose. Sending heroes with traits appropriate for the alert will obviously increase your chances of success. It's not that simple though. Each alert is on a timer, and if not addressed will be instantly failed. Each hero can obviously only do one task at any given moment, and once completed they will need time to both travel back to SDN and then also rest. This creates a balancing act of making sure you always have a hero or two on hand and not overextending into a particular alert. The mechanics run even deeper than this though. Each time a hero or hero succeed, they get XP, which can result in a skill point for them. These skill points can be used to level up traits so the Z team can become even more rounded and specialized as heroes. This not only fits thematically with the story, but also adds that additional layer of fun. Each hero also has a hidden skill which will be discovered happen when certain conditions are met for a bit more of a unique playstyle. Further to the dispatching, there are what I would call a more traditional minigame with Robert's hacking module. These are small movement and memory puzzles that occur anytime Robert is hacking into a system. Much like the dispatching, they also gradually became more complex with the introduction of more obstacles, like the computer virus, and they were an enjoyable aside to the story. Unlike other games of this genre, Dispatch never sees you controlling Robert's movement, so you never have to walk from scene to scene. The story continually plays out and never stops unless you physically pause the game. The dialogue choices are on timers, the dispatching and hacking games are on timers, and therefore you are constantly moving at the game's pace, which I thought not only worked well, but was refreshing. The game is confident in its cadence to tell this story. Before jumping into Chapter 1, this title offers the ability to turn on or off QuickTime events. If you have them on, there will be certain times in the story where you can interact to assist Robert with certain actions. Some of these can even be failed, which will immediately see the consequences on screen, which added that extra level of immersion, which I adored. All in all, as narrative games go, I thought this was the best one I've experienced in terms of gameplay. It diverges from the traditional walking around and interacting with random objects and throws some strategy and puzzles at you instead. All of this moving at a constant steady pace, which just feels great. I hope to see more titles adopt this approach in the future. Dispatch is a game that is meant to be replayed. In traditional Telltale fashion, at the end of each chapter you can see the percentage of people who made each choice to see if you are a normie or stick out from the crowd. This worked to make me more interested in seeing what other outcomes the choices have. These branching paths are always what made Telltale games so awe-inspiring, and even within the first 4 chapters you have to make some major choices, which I had to go back and try the alternatives with no questions asked. Given that each chapter is only on average about an hour long, it makes it perfectly bite-sized to be consumed multiple times. The way Dispatch's story ends is where you see all of these choices come to a head. There were several outcomes that came up in percentage at the end of the chapter that I didn't even know would be possible, which just makes me think the branching narratives go even deeper than I could even have imagined. Other side content is additional DLC, which has to be purchased but features a digital art book and comic broken down into chapters just like the game. I haven't bought this so I can't comment on it, but I thought it was worth noting. As a lover of narrative experiences, Dispatch is a game that I had on my radar since its announcement last December. Adhoc Studio and its Telltale heritage have gone over and above with this title in a way I feel blindsided by. The voice acting and music are phenomenal. The art style is captivating with its crisp animation and vibrant colors. The gameplay is progressive for this genre, which was a risk but has resulted in something that is addictive and fun. The presentation of the choices and the length of chapters is perfectly executed, and above all else, the story is something I will always remember. The biggest question with these types of games is, do they stick the landing? And I can, without hesitation, say that Adhoc Studio couldn't have ended this season any better. Dispatch gets a casual gamer score of 10 out of 10. The studio was saying earlier this week that due to the success they've been having for this title, they are considering a season 2, and I really hope they see that through. This story, this world, and these characters need exploring further. This is definitely a game I will continue to replay each year. I will be doing a spoiler cast for Dispatch, so keep an eye out for that on the channel in the coming days, but also check out my most recent reviews of Keeper and Silent Hill F. If you are in a post-Dispatch slump, then check out my best games of November video to see what you can play next. Let me know in the comments below if you'll be playing Dispatch, but please keep it as spoiler free as possible. If you enjoyed this content, then please leave a like and subscribe, or if you don't like it, then leave a thumbs down and I will try to be better next time. Once again, keep an eye out for that upcoming spoiler cast, and for everything else, Casual Gamer, keep it here. Peace and love.